Hello everyone, I'm Ryan Wolf, the news station all about Putin. Well, really about the government, but they're basically the same thing. Today, we will have three main stories as well as a couple smaller ones. We have news on the LGBT community, election changes, and the economic recession. Now we go to Megan Greenwald, live from Moscow, about the issues that the LGBT community is facing.
The Russian capital of Moscow, where LGBT supporters are spending their night in jail following protests. The protests are tied to the Chechnyan elections last September. It has come to light in recent months that over 100 gay men have been persecuted, tortured, and some even killed by police for trying to vote in Russia's highly conservative Southern Republic. The LGBT community were outraged and started a petition to release the remaining men and more information on what happened. Over 2 million signed the petition, which asked for an unbiased investigation into their deaths and the reported abuse. After printing copies of the petition to bring to the Prosecutor General's office nearby, 5 well-known LGBT supporters were almost immediately taken into custody for holding an unsanctioned protest. With now more international outcry from the LGBT community, Putin has issued a statement stating that he will talk to the law enforcement officials about both instances, but suggests that the abuse was just fabricated. This isn't the first time that the LGBT community has felt targeted by the Russian law enforcement. There was the 2013 homosexuality propaganda ban, which passed in the Duma 436 to 0. The law banned the distribution of any material of non-traditional sexual relations among minors and prohibits the LGBT flag and symbols in public locations. The law is still in effect today and stating fines and detainment for anyone who breaks it. Crackdowns also happened in 2014 when the community held the annual March Against Hatred in St. Petersburg. Mass arrests were made from the thousands that attended. So far, things don't look like they're getting much better for them this year as well. And for Putin in the News, I'm Megan Greenwald.
I could swear that their constitution said that they guarantee rights to everyone. I guess they don't really use that thing anyway. North Korea has recently tested a long-range missile that is capable of carrying heavy nuclear warheads. The test launch was pointed away from Russia, but Putin still offered a warning, saying that it was dangerous. Now, live from Moscow, Mohammed on the recent election changes that have occurred within Russia.
Time to mark your calendars. Following through with his anti-corruption campaign, Putin has just changed election tradition by consolidating voting days into one national date, the 18th of September. Elections are an important part of democracies, and they really need to be convincing. Putin knows this and how hard it is to get out of bed and vote, so he's devised an ingenious plan to increase voter participation and perceived legitimacy. Have one day for elections. This will increase the ability of government officials to proctor, audit, and keep a close eye on election results. Very close eyes. With this, elections will be more controlled, standardized, and predictable. This will make sure that voter fraud isn't a problem. On a less depressing note, voter participation should increase very much as voters are lazy and now they'll only have to leave their home once. However, some people fear that these changes will increase government oversight, will increase corruption and the ability for the government to hack elections. However, this kind of sentiment may bring opposite effects than what was intended, namely people losing faith in the government and decreasing legitimacy. Not that there was much anyways. Overall, it will not be surprising to find out when Putin's united Russia wins again this coming election. Back to you, Ryan.
Thank you, Javed. We will be right back after a small break. Hello, my name is Alexei Petrov, and I'm running to be your next president. Putin is ruining this country. He's changing the elections to make sure that he wins. This is neither fair nor just, and he needs to be stopped. I am the only one who can do this. Just listen to these proud citizens that definitely aren't paid actors about how they feel about me.
I love Mr. Petrov. He's my #1 vote for president. Hey, there's supposed to be another 100 in here.
Ready? I would never choose anyone other than Mr. Petrov, other than Kevin Bacon, because he's Kevin Bacon and he's my favorite actor.
I love Putin. Putin is the best and he will rule forever. Oh!
Everybody loves me. Please, vote for me for president. You won't regret it. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that small break. Recently, the U.S. has shared ISIS information with the Russian government. Many people aren't happy with this, but I mean, come on, best friends don't keep secrets, so I can easily see why Trump told Putin. Well, anyway, we now go to Evan McVitie with news on the recent Russian economic recession.
Thanks, Ryan. I'm Evan McVitie, and thank you for tuning in. Russia has now been experiencing a recession for more than 2 decades, and in the fourth quarter of 2016 last year, they experienced its first economic incline in 5 years. Now, this is good news, especially not just for Russians who now are able to afford new shoes for possibly the first time in their lives, but for the world as well, or any proponent of capitalism and the free market. Since this recession is the steepest in Russia's history, and it has caused the Kremlin to allow free trade of the ruble, which is Russia's currency, if you did not know, and it has allowed some previously state-owned enterprises, such as the mining industry, to become privatized. And this sounds promising, but it's not all good news for Russia, as you can see by looking at this graph here. Now, as you can see, since 1990, in the last 2 decades, Russia has been experiencing a recession. And as you can see, the worst of it has been in 2009, where the Russian economy met an 8% decline, which is the lowest GDP that they have had in the whole history of the Russian Federation. This has continued and has been a fairly slow decline, but in the fourth quarter of 2016, the remarkable happened, and in the first time in 5 years, any sort of GDP growth, which is definitely an improvement. And you can see here, though, it is not supposed to continue, although the Russians are towards the end of the recession. Through 2018, it's supposed to be 0.2% to 0.5% drop in their GDP, which obviously is not what the Russians are striving for. Now, how is this going to affect most Russians? Well, it's basically in all facets of their economic purchasing power. And you can tell by anything really. An example would be a new car, which in Russian rubles, a foreign car such as a Volkswagen Golf would cost you nearly 2 million rubles. However, this is equivalent to 21,000 US dollars. And that is a lot of money for most Russians, especially given that the recession is happening as it is. Now, if you want to buy a domestic car, say a new Lada Granta, that will cost you approximately $12,000 in US dollars. Now, the reason is because Russian's government is inherently corrupt, and as many people know, AutoVaz, which is one of the companies that the Russian government recently purchased, is the company that makes the Lada lineup. So this has essentially affected the recession, as the government has purchased a lot of companies, effectively giving them a monopoly on the transportation industry. Now, that would explain some of the missing billions of dollars from Russia's central bank. We attempted to get an interview tonight, however, they cited political reasons, and the chairman of the bank refused to interview, which is unfortunate. So the Kremlin is notorious for its corruption, and that's what's caused a lot of the recession. And since the Russian Federation began, as you can tell, there has been a lot of corruption, and this is a long way to go for Russia before it is able to finally rid itself of this recession. But the growth, as you can see, has been very promising. So thank you, and for putting it in the news, I'm Evan McVitie. Thanks.
Thank you all for joining us. I hope you enjoyed your time here on Putin in the News and learned a lot about the events occurring in Russia. Putin, if you're out there watching this, thank you for providing so much entertainment for the rest of the world. God bless. I'm Ryan Wolf, and I'm